Welcome, my friends. Hello, hello. Here we are. It is Chat with Matt. It is the 27th of May, 2020 still. It's still 2020 despite the fact that it's going very interestingly. Here we are, Chat with Matt. I've got 30 minutes or so. I've only got about 45 minutes and I've got someone else on the phone. So about 30 minutes to spend with you guys. I've pre-asked a whole heap of questions. Hey, Brother Mark, how are you? I've pre-asked if anyone had questions and I've received a good little batch. So I'm going to get straight into it. I actually have a drink before I get straight into it. First question comes from Brother Bart from somewhere in Europe. I can't remember if it's, but anyway, I know he's in European time zones. How do I avoid getting angry on Facebook? ? Well, the obvious answer is to stop using Facebook, but here we are on Facebook. So, like everything, we've got to learn how to use these tools in a productive way. Anyway, I'll try and read through it before I start answering because that always makes more sense, generally. How do I avoid getting angry on Facebook or getting caught up in endless discussions about true or fake post shares news? I guess it all comes down to do massive research when I post something, for example, about the such and such virus. Often when I think I can absolutely trust an article that I read, I post it, and then another Facebook or other Facebook friends comment with other articles and posts from magazines and media telling me that my posts are fake. Then I start doing more research and more questions come up, researching more and more sources and related terms and subjects, and then I end up feeling very tired and insecure, regretting that I spent hours and hours behind my computer screen growing aggressive and hostile thoughts and feelings towards some of these Facebook friends or even neighbors who are Facebook friends, while it was a beautiful sunny day outside. Okay, hey Sister Sandhya, how are you? So that is an awesomely topical question request. So let us do our best to answer it. Here we go. Did Mark add something to the end of it? Oh, I'll get there if I get there, Mark. Anyway, so let's try and unravel this, Brother Bart. Hey, Sister Jackie. Let's try and unravel this. Ultimately, the main question, how do I avoid getting angry, right? How do I avoid getting caught up in these endless discussions? The primary thing to do here is to realize that there's no such thing as right or wrong, right? As I put in the queue, everything is a perspective, and I put that up before you asked this question, right? The 6 or the 9 thing. Everything is a perspective, and so there is no point arguing with people about what is right or wrong. And I can guarantee you that everything that you read, every article that you read, especially around this beer virus, is partially right and partially wrong, right? Right and wrong is not an absolute. We don't live in a binary world of absolutes. So the discussions are meaningless. And what would be better discussions, like this whole thing, that's fake, right? What is fake? What is fake, right? Better discussion would be to have is what aspect of this is correct? What aspect of this is illustrating a sentiment that has value to discuss? What aspect of this provokes thought around certain things that we know are going on, right? That's more important, because unfortunately everything seems to be tainted today. Even people with very good meaning or very good intention behind what they're putting out are somehow choosing to manipulate what they put out, right? We see it time and time again. People who advocate against animal cruelty use fake images of animal cruelty to put their point across. They try and use shocking images that are made up because they want to get more reaction to the cause, right? Which then discredits the whole friggin' thing, because people's BS meter is getting stronger and stronger. We're starting to feel into, I don't trust that, I don't trust that, I don't trust that. And yet our mind is still caught up in the idea that there's wrong and there's right, and that facts are facts, and that, well, this has got scientific evidence behind us. But we look at the science, what a farce that is at the moment, right? Where it's becoming more and more obvious that most of the science that's being done on this planet is being paid for, right? Financed by people who have vested interest in the answer, right? In a particular answer. And of course, that has influence over what answer comes out. So even things with massive studies behind it, so much of it, not all of it, because some of it is done by impartial agencies that put money forward for proper research. Hey, Brother Bart, I'm into it, so you might need to listen again to the first 5 minutes. But what I'm basically saying is there is no such thing as right and wrong. There's no such thing as fake and not fake. It's all has elements of manipulation involved, all of it pretty much, if it's going through your social media feed. And so the better discussion to have with people is not whether it's right or wrong inherently, is what aspect of this sentiment is worth discussing, right? Because so many people are caught up in their minds with just right and wrong, and they think if they just can pick the right thing, then they're going to be happy and safe. But it's not the truth, right? It's not the truth. We become happy and safe when we choose to be happy and safe. And one of the ways of choosing to be happy and safe is to realize that all of the facts and figures, all the information that we're being fed is tainted to some description, and we can't implicitly trust any of it based on the surface information. We must be willing to dig a little bit deeper into the energies that are behind whatever is being presented. And that requires a deeper level of intuitive knowing that comes about when we relax out of needing to be safe, unfortunately, right? Because we want to use this to be safe, right? We want to pick what is the right thing to be doing right now. What action should we be doing based on the best evidence that we can amass? And the best evidence at the moment is so piss poor, right? That it's causing stress. We're all getting stressed if we want to do the world from our mind, because we just simply cannot make sense of all of the information that's being presented, because it is so manipulated and entangled that it's impossible for this faculty, the mental faculty, to make sense of it and to come to a reasonable conclusion. I don't think there is a reasonable conclusion at the moment. I don't think there is a conclusion about what's right and wrong. I think we're all being part of the blessing of this situation is it's really, really showing us the farcical nature of doing the world with our mind and trying to pick the right and the wrong, and rather to recognize that our safety and our happiness lies in being very fluid, very adaptable, very relaxed, really, in the now moment. Just cruise with it, right? Find allowance for the fact that others are running very much in their mind and wanting to be right in certain ways, and they may be doing what we consider stupid things, right? Illogical things, even dangerous things from our perspective, but we're not here to control them. Unfortunately, all we're here to do is advocate for ourselves. Hey, Sister Julie. All we're here to do is advocate for ourselves and make our own decisions about how we respond to the situation. It's very, very hard. You know, I talk a lot about advocating for the outcome that we desire, and that is done not by trying to prove a point with statistics or facts, right? Not to try and educate others into believing the same thing we believe, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work today. The opinions are so divisive that trying to educate people with information is a mug's game, right? Getting on Facebook and posting your opinions in terms of this is right and I believe this and this is what I think everyone should believe is not going to work. Today, I believe the way forward is to advocate via our energetic beingness, right? To be that relaxed, happy being in the space. Hey, Sister Kazri, how are you, love? So how do we best relax into simply being ourselves as a high vibrational being of light and love, and respond to the world in such a way. And it doesn't mean we have to get off Facebook. It doesn't mean that we should not post our opinions, but we should be willing to post our opinions not based on sharing other people's facts and figures, right? Not sharing other people's posts willy-nilly, thinking this is correct. If we're going to post something from someone else, we should always preface it with what about this article we find interesting and relevant. Not that this is right and I've done all my research on this, right? So just get out of what's right and wrong, because everything can be disproved with science and logic and statistics. We see it time and time again. I studied a bit of statistics as an engineer, and the only real thing that came out of it was don't trust statistics, because whoever's doing the statistics can manipulate it to get their outcome, right? To get a favorable opinion or slant on what their bent is, right? So there's many discussions to have, but it should all be around what perspective you feel is worth considering. Encouraging discussion around the deeper concepts rather than the rights and the wrongs, right? Because so many people are so divisive on wanting to be right now. And I think there's a very valid discussion to be had out there on Facebook around letting go of what's right and what's wrong, because everything is both right and wrong, depending on which perspective you look at it from. Hopefully that helps, Brother Bart. It will be an ongoing discussion, no doubt, and I feel your pain, right? So choose to be happy and choose to prioritize your time for happiness and not for rightness. Let go of needing to prove yourself, because that's a mug's game. Okay, Sister Rosemary wrote in a question around a similar line, but a little bit different. So let's read this. Rosemary wrote, I love the it's a 6, it's a 9, it's all about perspective image. I live with someone who just doesn't get this concept. I've shown it to him in the past, and he says that whoever drew the number must have had one in mind, and that's what it is. I get that, actually. There is some definite truth in that for some situations, not all. He doesn't understand how different people can have different truths about something, and that this can be okay. There are other things that I can find difficult about how his brain works, such as his belief that his emotions about something define the truth about it. Naturally, this leads to him firmly believing that his way or his opinion about something is the only correct one. Right now, I'm in a phase where I seem to be having a particularly hard time with dealing with him. Other times it's easier for me. I understand and try to follow that when I fight to be right, I will always be wrong. But when I make a decision regarding our kids, like saying they can have dessert tonight, if he doesn't think that it is the right decision, how do I stand in my truth? This is the question, right? How do I stand in my truth that I felt it was okay, but also not fight to be right? Do you have thoughts on this in general, or anything that would be helpful to know? Yes, Rosemary, it is a difficult situation. Not to feel bad, sorry, I missed what was above that. But my main purpose should also not to feel bad for the rest of the day after being on Facebook. Exactly. So Bart, before I answer this one, don't make it a personal thing that people are arguing with you and disproving what you said. You're not a wrong person for putting your opinions on Facebook that other people disagree with, nor are they wrong. Everyone is trying to do their best to keep themselves feeling safe inside right now, and a lot of people have taken a very negative, argumental attitude towards all information. Some people are just out there to prove that every bit of information is fake news on the internet, and they take great pleasure in doing it. So the point is, your intention is to share things that you feel would benefit others, and that is what is most important, right? Trust in your intention, and that is what you really want to preface anything that you post with. My intention is to provide an opinion here on this subject that I feel would serve us all to contemplate. I'm not here presenting something that is either right or wrong. Put that right out in front right before you post anything, and you'll have a better chance at staying neutral to the argument, right? That there's some sort of a front that you've posted something that's fake, and now you need to do more research to work out where you went wrong. You didn't go wrong at all. You're posting what you feel is beneficial, and that's what's all that counts, right? I will get to that, Julie. What kind of protection ritual? Yeah, and there's no appropriateness. It's just a matter of time, and I'll get through things in due order as best I can, Julie. And if I miss it, then please present it again next week, and I will do my best then. Just saying that, I thought I had something from last week that I was supposed to talk about this week as well, but it doesn't work that way. I live in the moment, so when it's right in front of me, it's right in front of me, and here it is right in front of me. So, Rosemary, this is important, right? How do we stand in our truth when someone else is in their dogmatic way of rights and wrongs, and you know, you're in this situation where you're having to live with them? I could say you're here to negotiate with them, but they're very hard to negotiate with because they're not interested in your point of view. First and foremost, if you're living with someone and you've got kids with them, then you need to, it's going to serve you to enter into communication. And while you might not be able to change his mind about the fact that whatever he feels, because he's basically in protection, his attitude is, without being judgmental, it's of a immature soul protecting itself. And I grew up with in a situation where I lived with someone who was very much like this. Their opinion is the right opinion. And the reason they do that is from insecurity, right? They build a mental structure that's very, very strong around the fact that whatever they believe and whatever they feel is right. And that helps them feel safe in the world, right? Because they implicitly, blindly trust their mentality and their emotionality around subjects, which in some ways, and that's what has given confidence a bad name, right? Because these people, with these brash egoic confidence, right, that don't want to enter into a debate because their structure is actually reasonably shaky, because deep down they know that they're running on very limited information about what they're choosing to dogmatically hold as right and wrong. Deep down they understand that, and so they're very strong in protecting that shaky foundation, right? They've got a house of cards and they make sure all the windows and doors are shut so no breeze comes through the room and tumbles their house of cards, because if their house of cards fall, they will be lost. On a personality level, their persona will fall apart if they are proved wrong on anything. So they're not into entering into a debate where there is any chance that they get proved wrong. So how do we work with that, right? One way, and it's no good just shutting up and letting them rule the roost with and make all of the decisions in the house, especially when they're not appropriate. So the way to work forward is to work at their level of logic. So in that example, right, where you've decided the kids can have dessert and someone else, and he has a different opinion and his opinion is right, then you just basically ask him, you basically just say, I made a decision and I understand that your belief is my decision is wrong from your limited point of view. And I would even put the word limited in there. Depends on, you have to determine how provocative you want to be and how dangerous the situation is, of course, right? And danger is on all levels, not just physical. But from your opinion, I'm wrong. Should I be making any decisions in this house at all, or do you want to make all of them? And if that's the case, do you want to start doing all of the work as well? Right? Because I'm not here to be your slave. I'd put it out that way. I'll maybe not use the slave word, but right, you need to come to an agreement that while you're not going to ask for him to change his mind on what he believes, he also needs to come to an arrangement where he sometimes allows you to do what you believe. because it can't be all one-sided, right? And while you need to come to an agreement where you can agree to disagree, and that you made the decision first, you're predominantly looking after the kids, and they're having dessert tonight because you've already told them that, right? And if, so it's about having communication, understanding his mentality, understanding his emotional insecurity in himself, and still having communication that leads to protocols and agreements, right, where you can function, that you can still make decisions and not get overturned and basically lose your authority with the kids, right? Because otherwise, you can basically just tell him that, right? If you keep undermining whatever I tell the kids, and the kids don't do anything that I ask them because they just think that everything I say is wrong, in which case you are going to have to look after the kids, because I'm not choosing to look after kids that don't respect my ability to make decisions for them, right? And he should understand that, right? If he's going to keep undermining your decisions, then you can't adequately look after your children. And so he will have to do it, right? So, and that's just an aspect, right? That's not the complete solution to this, but basically it's no good fighting him, and it's no good making him wrong. You have to work with him where he currently is to make small improvements in the situation so that you can maintain functionality. Over time, there is hope for evolution. There is hope for evolution. Over time, as you slowly make inroads, he will start to loosen his hold on right and wrong. As he starts to find a little bit more confidence in himself inherently, which is going to happen for everyone after a bit of a purging out with the current energies rising and shaking out density and darkness, there is opportunity for him to relax around needing to be right about everything and being able to contemplate the idea that others also can be right as well, without him necessarily needing to be wrong. Hopefully that helps, Sister Rosemary. Sister Vanessa wrote in, I'm staying in my zone at home. I'm going to sort of paraphrase this because I think I got to the end. Anyway, I'm coming into greater acceptance. It's certainly not always easy. Sorry. I'm having painful physical symptoms, trapped nerve in my neck, jangly nervous system. I'm releasing anger towards others and myself for the way things are, right? Providing anger. So, first of all, I will talk quickly about anger, because anger in this situation is not wrong, right? Anger arises naturally in all humans, actually in all living beings pretty much, or mammalian beings. Anger arises as a protection mechanism when our needs are not being met. Now, understand that our needs are perceived needs, not actual needs all of the time, right? We perceive we need something, and then when that's not happening, we get angry. It's a natural emotional response that helps us to correct situations to ensure our survival. Anger is not wrong, but we need to be willing to work with our anger in empowered ways. Unfortunately, anger has been made wrong by the collective, instigated through religious institutions and the whatnot, to basically keep us suppressed, right? Because the rulers of this planet don't want the common people getting angry, because angry people sharpen their pitchforks and overthrow the rulers, right? Even if there's quite a lot of blood loss, because there are more of us than any army could possibly subdue, although that could be arguable today with some of the weapons that they have. But in general, anger has been made very wrong to keep the population under control. So as soon as people start feeling angry, then they start feeling guilty for being angry. And then they suppress their anger, and they suppress it, and they suppress it till they can't suppress it anymore. Then it bursts out as rage, and they do something stupid, they lose their mind, and then the rulers turn around and say, see, that's why anger is dangerous, right? Anger itself isn't dangerous, but rage is. Rage only occurs when people have their anger suppressed for a long period of time. Anywho, so when dealing with anger, one of the best ways to do it is to express it and not be guilty about it. not to feel wrong that you're getting angry about the current situation, because the current situation is imposing on our freedom. It is imposing on our freedom in multiple ways. And so it's appropriate that we feel levels of anger towards that. But then how do we channel that anger into positive actions or intentions, or I'll leave it at that, actions and intentions that help us to maintain our freedom on this planet in all ways. And I'm not just talking about the lockdown type situation, but in all ways. We're being rightly, royally manipulated right now, and so are our fellow humans, and it's impinging on our ability to be happy, which is what we want, and why we get angry when people impinge on our ability to be happy. From our perspective, right? We can still be happy. You can choose happiness anywhere. It's just not as easy. Anywho, so moving down through Sister Vanessa's expression here, she says, becoming a nun has very much appeal right now. Question, I ask myself, when will I be physically strong enough to step up into my purpose and stop hiding out and running away? I know I'm playing the victim. I've watched videos on it and self-sabotage. And, she says in the next paragraph, I know you're going to say I'm ready right now, Matt. And I am. I'm going to say you're ready right now. Because it's not about being physically strong enough to step into your purpose. Purpose is an every breath thing, right? And to choose to express yourself in the moment in a purposeful way is what is going to help you become stronger. So stepping into your purpose will lead to your healing, not the other way around, right? Healing yourself is not how you get into your purpose. It's the other way. Step into purpose first and allow yourself to heal. Don't make your purpose healing, right? Because if you make your purpose your healing, purpose is very powerful, right? And if you make your purpose your healing, you will always find something to be healing from, because that's your purpose. So choose purpose that's aligned with being an expansive expression of yourself, so you keep finding ways to be an expansive expression of yourself, even if your health is not optimal right now. Hey, Sister Kelly Jean. Hey, Sister Denise. Even in my main, this is Vanessa again, even in my main dysfunction, mental and emotional instability, I'm okay and right where I need to be. Exactly. I'm my own worst enemy. So you can let go of that belief. Hey, brother Andy. You can let go of that belief, right? That, I know that's a very common one. I'm my own worst enemy, but saying that to yourself does not help you step into purpose, right? It does not help you accept yourself, and it does not help you appreciate yourself, and therefore it keeps you out of self-love, which is what you're choosing to move into. So you're not your own worst enemy, okay? You are not. You're your own gift to yourself and to the all. So don't make yourself your enemy. Understand that you have fragments of energy inside your energy field that behave like an enemy, right? You have fragments of discordance that have been left over as a residue from past experience that is acting out in a way that creates discordance. And while you could make that the enemy, I would encourage you not to make it an enemy, because whenever we have an enemy, we choose to fight against it. And when you keep fighting against something, you feed it, right? What we fight against, we feed, and what we feed will grow stronger. So don't, because we focus on what we're fighting against. It's the enemy, right? And it's dangerous. So don't make anything the enemy. Everything is an opportunity, even the discordant parts in ourselves that is creating discomfort. I can repeat that, Brother Bart. Bart asks, can you please repeat this? That purpose and healing, what is the priority? The priority is always purpose, Bart. Our whole reason for being on this planet is to express ourselves in an expansive way. To allow our spirit to speak through us. That is the purpose on this planet. I know some people will think our purpose on this planet is to purify ourselves of our past. That is the process that goes along with expressing ourselves. Because as we intend to express ourselves in more and more expansive ways, the resistance that we hold, which is basically residues of past experience, come up to protest, and so they have to be released in order for us to keep expressing ourselves in more and more expansive ways. So allowing yourself, it's really important what comes first, right? The horse or the cart, because horses do a shit job of pushing a cart. I don't know, those of you who have horses might understand that a horse trying to push a cart is a shit show. So I've got my calendar telling me I've got something coming up soon. That's okay, I've still got 15 minutes. So the point is understand that putting your purpose first drives you through the process much more effectively than trying to put your healing first. Because otherwise your healing becomes the purpose, and what is purposeful becomes very important to us, and we don't get rid of our purpose easily. So when your purpose is to express yourself expansively, then your healing naturally happens alongside that. It is frustrating still, right? It's frustrating that I want to express myself more purposefully, and yet I don't feel I'm able to because I have various woundings, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, energetic. It's frustrating, but we have to be willing to risk the frustration. We have to be willing to embrace the frustration of choosing to be more and yet not able to do it just yet. And so as we keep aligning with the choice to be more of ourselves and more visible and more expansive and more influential in this world from our heart, knowing, right, that our heart has something valid to share. The love that we emit is valid to share in this world, and we wish to do it in all sorts of ways. We all have imaginative ways to express ourselves expansively. When we get into that space of just expressing out of our heart, healing naturally happens. Now, when I say naturally happens, doesn't mean that we don't need to go and seize people, doesn't mean that we don't need to use tools and methods to do this healing, because we do generally. But the point is, it naturally becomes very obvious what needs healing, and we don't need to go looking for it, and we don't need to try as hard, and we certainly don't want to postpone our happiness or our purpose until we have finished healing. Because if we do that, if we have that mentality, then we give the discordance so much power. If it is holding us out of our purpose, it has so much power, and that creates a contraction and a stress around the need to heal it, so that we can step into our purpose and our happiness. And with that contraction creates a slowing down of the whole process. Awesome. Thank you, Sister Sandhya. I could attempt to hit the see more. Awesome. I'm glad my expression, and I'm in a bit of a rave right now, is serving you. Okay, so hopefully that helps you too, Vanessa. And just quickly reading Jackie, and then I want to flip back to something Julie said, and I'll just spend another few minutes here with us all. I know I'm coming to the end of my half hour. I'm leaving to go a horse show, interstate, noticing that people are wanting to move about, enjoy life again. My daughter and kids are coming, I don't know how, but I'm intending to move in freedom from fear of the unknown or the unknown. So awesome, Jackie, and I believe that is a thing to do right now. Hey, Sister Pat, is to step out of fear in anything really and choose to follow your heart and be willing to move about in a way that serves you. And that's, it's not that everyone should be moving about. It's up to individuals to choose what they're doing in this current situation. I believe the situation is far from over, unfortunately, in various ways. So we will see how it unfolds. But the point is not to hunker down and hide away until we think that it's absolutely safe to come out, because there is no absolute in safety. So follow your heart, be willing to move, and at the same time, my friends, I would encourage you all to be a little bit prepared that we might go into a lockdown or something again in the near future, and that's not to be overly fearful of that. It's just to have some preparation in place so that you can relax if it happens and not go into the whole shit show of having to panic buy and stuff again, because you've already got stocks of stuff stored away in an appropriate manner, right? I would encourage that. I've just ordered some seeds and stuff, right? Just why not? It doesn't cost a lot of money. For those of us who garden and that, it's just to have a stockpile of stuff. And we've just had a string of earthquakes yesterday morning, and then the day before. Anyway, over the last few days, we've had a couple of reasonably big earthquakes. First one was 5.9. It was a decent shake. Shit fell off the walls. Shit fell off the shelves. Come through. I live in an earthquake zone. It's handy to be prepared that if we get a bigger one and the house falls down, and me and my family happen to get out alive, then we're not going to starve, right? So, and not going to die of exposure. So we have a tent and we have food and water and stuff stored in a place where I know I can get to if the house is not safe to re-enter. It makes sense, right? And then it helps me relax around the idea of, well, what if an earthquake happens? Well, if an earthquake happens, I've prepared for it, right? Because I can't control whether an earthquake happens, and we can't control what our society does around this virus thing, and we can't control a lot of things in the world. All we can do is be prepared and trust ourselves. It's important that we don't get into the idea that we need to cross all the T's and dot all of the I's and have every eventuality taken care of, because that would just drive us insane. But when there is obvious situations going down, and at the moment the unrest in the political system, and you could be doing similar things with your money and stuff, right? Whether you take precautions, whether you buy gold at the moment, I don't know. I don't have money to worry about doing shit like that with, so so that question's not a priority for me, right? But for other people who are in retirement and have retirement funds and stuff, I would be asking some questions about where money is best kept. Because it's looking unstable. That's the truth of it. And I don't believe we can trust the financial situation. Again, I'm not encouraging you to go into fear. I'm not encouraging you to make decisions from a base of fear. I'm encouraging you to be open to the idea that the current structures that we've relied on for so long are in the process of falling down. Our healthcare system or medicine or our sickness management system is falling apart. Our political system is falling apart. Our financial institutions are falling apart. Our education system is falling apart. It all needs to fall apart so that it can be rebuilt. Yeah, I sleep very well. Thank you, Bart. I trust in God, source, universe. I trust in my spirit. I trust in my guides. And in the past, I've always woken up well before an earthquake has come. I have a sixth sense. I feel them coming about 10 minutes before they arrive. Not that I get out of the house and wait for it to come. I trust that I'll get the intuition if I need to do that. But you have to trust. You have to trust in yourself, not in man-made structures, right? And that's what it comes down to. That's where real confidence comes from. Trusting ourselves to be able to navigate situations as they arise. Trusting ourselves to have intuitive understanding or guidance as to how to move forward. So what I'm just talking about with, what you do with your money or what you do with food supplies and all the rest of it is not about reacting from fear, but I'm encouraging you to understand that the current structures that we've put a lot of blind faith in, right, these man-made structures, are in the process of crumbling for very good reason. It's not a bad thing that they're crumbling. But you should be willing to ascertain the idea of what if these things crumble? What are we going to do? How are we going to survive? And not to get overly contracted in that, but to be willing to be open to intuitive guidance. Because a lot of people don't receive their intuitive guidance around these potentials because they are so dogmatically locked in the idea that it's safe, right? My money's safe in the bank. It's safe as the bank, right? Why do you think the bank's safe, right? And I'm not saying all of us should take our money out of the bank, because I don't believe that's clever either, but we should be aware that a lot of these things that we've thought are safe are illusions, right? It's delusory to think that these things are safe. Your only real safety is your own connection with source. Whether we need money or not, it's another point of view. Lots of points of view here, but my overall intention is to help you expand yourself out to be willing to contemplate different scenarios playing out, not in a fear-based way, but in a very loving way, so that you can open yourself to intuitive guidance, how best to prepare moving forward. And moving forward is right now. What is best going to serve you? What attitude is best going to help you move into? I am going to try and find that question that I saw come up, because I have a belief that it's a good one. I can't remember who did it, but it was Julie, someone. I will find it when I find it. So I'm just trying to find it here on my computer, because I'm not going to go scrolling up my screen. So I need to click on this. And then I need to forward is right now. Need to make it silent. And then I need to go scrolling up through here, Julie. Hi there. Okay. Julie, what kind of protection ritual would you recommend for yourself, family, house, car? Do you need to do it every day? No, I don't do it every day. I'll talk to you a little bit. So my question is not related to Facebook. No, and it kind of is related to Facebook, because you can use a protection. You can use protection to help you stay protected on Facebook as well. I don't do rituals every day, not at all. I hold very strong intention, and I have a lot of faith in my intention that things are protected. My youngest has just started driving, as in 2 days ago, got his license, right, driving on his own. So I consciously, as he leaves, as he just left for school half an hour ago, sort of thing, consciously send a couple of angels with him and his car, right, to get him safe in that car and everyone else around him safe. But I won't be doing that forever, right? Because over time, I will relax into trusting that my intentions, that he is safe and that he, and I'm not saying that he won't have an accident, but that anything that happens, he and people around him will have the highest and best outcome. The point is that I trust my intentions for myself and my family and my house and my car and all of that to stay safe. I have spent considerable time in the past in my meditative space holding that intention and fortifying that intention with visualization. I work with Mantara, which are a group of angels, so I tend to see angelic beings, which for me are just beings of light, right? Orbs of light, if you like, different coloured light, depending on their I've got 4 minutes. Depending on their flavour, right? What they help do, right? Orange ones, yellow ones, and I'm not going to divulge what I believe different colours are for because it's very personal, and I don't want you to believe the same thing I believe because what I believe is not the truth. It's just my truth. And it works for me, and it might not work for you. And if one thing that Mantara is very strict on is me or us railroading people into believing things that are just helpful for me, right? And basically to avoid me being used as something like a guru that has the information that everyone should have, or you should believe the same things I believe because it's right. Anything that I say is not right? The whole purpose of these conversations is to stimulate your deeper inquiry into what would serve you. Yes, visualizations of Metatron's cube is completely valid, right? Or a Merkaba, which is basically Metatron's cube in 3D, right? The two pyramids interspinning. I have used that in the past as a protection mechanism, as a vehicle of light, right? And you can put it around things. You can put it around your house. You can put it around your car. You can put it around yourself. Well, it's already around yourself, but you can just be aware that it's around yourself and fortify it with your intention, with your attention, right? Your attention on your intention to have an energetic container. And I would encourage you not to have a container that is bulletproof, right? Not to have a container that is a fortress. We don't want to isolate ourselves from the world. The way I do personal protection is to visualize that I am radiating my light out around me. So I'm breathing into my core, into my solar plexus. I'm building a strength in that, like the sun is burning bright inside of me, and then it's radiating out, kind of like a light bulb burning in a dark room. The darkness can't approach the light bulb. So if you are continually radiating your light, you are safe from being overly influenced by the darkness. You don't need to put a box around a light bulb to keep the darkness away from it, right? You don't need to draw the curtains on the house to keep the darkness from coming in. If you've got the lights on inside, if your solar plexus is burning bright, you do not need to put a curtain around you or a fortress around you or a bubble around you to keep the darkness away, because your light shining out, right, protects you. A lot of people feel, but you will also draw attention. So you're protected, but you draw attention. So that scares a lot of people. And it's the fear that, I can be seen, that then allows things to get in, right? Because once you have a fear, it's a pathway through that light. So it's really beneficial to hold confidence in the light that you are. And that only develops over successive experiences of standing strong in your light in the midst of darkness and feeling safe and being safe in it. At first you have to believe, and then you get evidence to help you believe more strongly. And once you get very strong and confident in this space, I do have to go, then the world is your oyster, right? You can move around in the world very, very easily. Much love, my friends. It's midnight in Belgium, and it's 9:45 here, and I've got another session right about to start. So much love to you all. I will be back again next week. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, please reach out either on this Facebook, in this Facebook group. This is very, very dear to me. We've got quite a few people now, 650, I think, in this group of bright light beings, and I'm here to serve you all. Not that I'm the oracle, not that I'm the centerpiece, but I'm just choosing to maintain this space where we can all work together to support each other in being brighter and more visible and more influential in the world, right? To be the change that we want to see. Not that we need to preach, not that we need to stand on a soapbox, but we just need to be it and be confident in it, and work in a very empowered way with our beingness. Anyway, my friends, much love. As I said, I'll be back next week, if not before, and we're open to serve you in any way, shape, or form. Much love. Namaste. Bye for now.